drop the needle down. Let's get high. Let's get high. Oh, let's get
Sebastian for the Metal Gods Meltdown, and today I am joined by
Lesli Sanders, the Prophets of Addiction.
It's an honor to be chatting to you tonight. Your music takes you back to my youth of the 80s, and this is your fourth album, Face the Music. It's great fun. How happy are you with the feedback from your fans and media so far?
It's been going real good so far. I just hope we can take it to the next level. That's what I was trying to do here.
So will it be any more single releases from this album?
Yeah, we're working on another video now, and we'll just keep releasing the videos and singles. We'll just keep on going, I guess.
Yeah.
The label wants us just to keep putting them out, and we'll just keep doing it. They'll keep supporting that and pushing it, so that's great.
That's amazing, because some bands are now like releasing videos for every song on the album, just for the Spotify's and that. Is that what you're sort of thinking of doing? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that part. I'm just kind of making them. It's kind of fun to make them. We kind of make them ourselves. So I kind of enjoy creating them and coming up with the concepts and all that. So it's kind of fun in itself. We've been kind of doing them so far ourselves. Well, not the animated one. That was my friend Lonnie. He made that. But as far as the Let's Get High one, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one, I'll be coming up with the concepts and the storylines for all of that.
Yeah, I love Let's Get High. That's an amazing video and tells the story of happier times when we went to the music store, man. Yeah?
Yeah.
Happy days. Okay, and so you guys are signed to Brave Words, which have really recently started becoming a label, haven't they? How pleased are you with them then so far?
We're doing great. They're doing what they need to do. That's just try to get the press out, try to have interviews like I'm doing with you, and trying to spread the word, and hopefully that translates into people being interested in the record. People that have heard it, they all seem to like it. The problem is getting the people to hear it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. What about heading out on a tour? Are there plans to head out and even maybe get over the pond?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We have to see what we can do, and that's it. We want to play. Not sure who wants to play, who can leave, who can do stuff, and how much money we can, if it's going to cost. I don't really care about making money. I just don't want to lose a ton of money, and just see what happens. We would like to ultimately get on a tour with some bigger bands if we can make that happen.
That'd be amazing. All right, and so that sort of goes into my next question. If you could go back and step into a time machine back to the 80s, who would be the ultimate band to go out on tour with?
Depends what part of the 80s would be, but it'd probably be the same one. Like, somebody like IT RAWKS, and now Michael Monroe, he's got some dates. So we would love to go with them. And we're trying to go, with more of those types of bands if possible, like our friends in 69 Eyes and I know those aren't new bands, but they have a different type of crowd, and, any of those Helicopters, those type of bands. And of course, we could go out with, some of the big 80s bands as well. I mean, the bottom line is just getting out and playing in front of a crowd of people.
Absolutely. All right. I'm going to ask you then now about your BMXing, because do you still do it? Are you still running?
Yeah.
Really?
I got hurt ribs right now. I just crashed last Saturday. I think I broke a rib or two, so that kind of hurts. Yeah.
I don't know how you manage, man. My legs are gone. My legs are knackered.
Oh, believe me, when I first started a couple years back, I went to the small little indoor track, and I crossed that finish line. I was about ready to have a heart attack. I was, and now I'm getting faster and faster, and I'm going to the gym. And one of the cool things is there's a bunch of the guys still racing that were in the magazines, that were there back in the days, I talked to like Pistol Pete Lonkarovich and people like this all the time, and they still race. There's a whole bunch of them, Harry Larry, he was still racing. Unfortunately, he just passed away, rest in peace to Harry. But he was there. Eric Roop's there all the time. All the guys that we saw when we were kids in the magazines. There's a lot of them that are still out there, and then there's a lot that are out there that weren't quite the household name, but they're still there and they're fast. They're not.
Yeah.
Once you get up to the expert ranking, these guys are old guys with they're all buff and strong and in shape. They're not just. I thought it was going to be a bunch of fat old guys racing around. Oh, don't worry, I'll beat those guys. Boy, I was the slowest guy there at first. I suddenly got faster and faster and faster and started beating more guys.
That's awesome. All right,
Yeah.
so I remember when BMXs were really popular and in vogue. You still have your first BMX? Have you still got it?
No, I don't. And those bikes are all worth a bunch of money now, like just like our dads or whatever used to talk about their cars or something, it's the same thing. Oh man, I wish I had that bike still. I wasn't really, as a kid, I think I was drawn to songwriting and I was drawn to songs and I was drawn to different things like that. So I went through my phases, I'm 56 years old now. So my favorite 3 albums, that's, kind of a lot to ask. But if you started thinking, I remember like the first one that I thought, man, these are great songs. And it's just one song after another. And I was probably 12 years old. That was that REO Speedwagon High Infidelity record, believe it or not.
Okay.
It was like one good song after another, and then later as I got older, of course there was Appetite for Destruction. There was some Ramones records. There was that In Excess Kick record was really good. That Colt Electric record was really good. I don't know. I don't know if I have favorite records because I had just listened to songs. And then at one point, to be honest, as I got older, I didn't really listen to music too much unless I was drinking, because whenever I had that opportunity to listen to music, it was either in the car. Back when you listen to radio, it's the same song over and over again that you heard for 20 years. So I didn't listen to that. And then I would just rather, when I was at home, I'd rather play the guitar and stuff and work on my own songs.
3 musicians of all time, dead or alive.
Well, I started out as playing bass. So, the first bass players that I really got into and started learning their stuff was Steve Harris, of course, from Iron Maiden, and then Cliff Burton from Metallica. And man, I'm trying to think when I first started playing who the first 3 people were. I don't remember who I could say the third, because I sat there and learned. I learned all those Iron Maiden songs. I played with my fingers, and I learned all those, and that was probably the biggest one at first. That's where I learned to play. I'd lay in bed at night and play those songs. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not sure who the third. If you say musician, then you could. It's kind of hard, because then you start to go, oh, do you mean songwriter, or do you mean this? Do you mean, what do you mean? So it's kind of a hard answer.
So if you could take Prophets of Addiction out on tour to 6 random countries, which would you choose?
Well, obviously we would do the States and Canada and the UK and Australia and, Italy, Spain, maybe, or Finland, Sweden. I don't know. There's a lot,
Everywhere, man.
I guess you'd start at the biggest one and work your way down. I'm not sure what that would be.
Would you prefer vinyl or digital?
To listen to or to look at?
To listen to, yeah.
Well, I think it's kind of what that song is about. I kind of appreciate that whole concept of what we did back in the days, and it wouldn't matter whether it was vinyl or digital. I think that it's more about the process. It's about, we used to, like I said in that intro, we used to save up our money. We'd ride our bike to the place. We'd go get it. It was a whole experience. We'd look at the artwork. I remember somebody else was talking about that about that video, and people wrote stuff about that. Once it made sense to a lot of people in our age and stuff. I used to stop on the side of the road and look at the whole thing and read it for an hour before I even got back to my house and put it on, and things like that. So to answer your question, to go along with that theme, I'd have to say vinyl, and it wouldn't matter. I guess it's physical product in general, and that whole excitement that it was when you knew it's coming out. Finally, this new Aussie record or this new whatever is coming out on this date, and I'm going to be at the store that day. Make sure I get one of the 6 copies that they have, at the local like mom and pop type shop.
Absolutely, mate. All right, and so which song from Face the Music would wake you up from a deep sleep?
Well, there's some that are more rockers, and then there's some that are more truthful and touching, like, Slipping Away is very sentimental to me. That's about being with my stepdad, who was like my dad, and he got cancer, and I spent I canceled everything, all my tours, I canceled everything to spend the last year and a half or so of his life. So, if all of a sudden I heard that, I'd be like, hey, why is this on all of a sudden, And then if the other ones, was just loud and rocking, then there might be, it might be Let's Get High or one of those heavier, harder or more rocking type songs, Walk the World or something, one of them. Brilliant.
If there was a song about yourself, your personality, what would it be called? Like a made up song?
Go fuck yourself. No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good answer, man. That's a good answer. All right.
Yeah.
These days, do you prefer beer or pizza?
Oh, obvious. Definitely pizza these days. Yeah.
I'm the same, yeah. All right. Yeah. Are you a saint or a sinner?
I guess you would say at this point more of a saint, I guess.
All right, and the final one is, do you prefer New Year or Christmas?
Probably New Year.
You say it's been a career highlight for you. There would have been many, I'm sure. The one that sticks out.
Well, I've had some, that are personal, of course, like playing a big amphitheater on the main stage, in front of thousands of people. That was good. But, some of the things that have stood out actually are what I could do to help other people. I remember like when I was in Pretty Boy Floyd, there was a guy in a wheelchair and he was just sitting out there and, his parents brought him, and me and Chad, the guitar player, we picked this kid up and carried him in his wheelchair, carried him up out of his wheelchair into the bus, sat there. I don't know if the guy had ever had a beer in his life, gave him a beer. He sat there and drank with us, and he sat in that bus for probably an hour or two, and his parents just waited outside. His parents that brought him there, they just waited outside the whole time, and at the end, they didn't care. They thought, this kid, here he is, kid in a wheelchair, he's this, that. And, and he sat there and hung with us the whole time. The parents were, thank you so much. You basically made his dreams come true. And so to me, that's more important than what I got, because I got to help somebody else. And he'll probably remember that, or probably does remember that the rest of his life. So to me, that was more important. Yeah,
that's amazing, man.
There's other similar stories to that, but that's the type that I remember and I'm most proud of myself, is that, as opposed to what I did.
All right, so this one you might not want to answer. What's the most outrageous thing then you've done in the name of rock and roll?
The most outrageous what?
Yeah, most outrageous thing you've done in the name of rock and roll.
No, I was a complete idiot when I was on the way to stuff.
Well, we all.
You probably don't want to hear all this stuff, but I mean, pretty much any of those stories you heard from all those bands back in the days, I pretty much did all of that stuff. So, if not more. So, I think at one point there was some kind of reader's poll on Metal Sludge or whatever, and I hate to use the term rock star, but that was the question, was what rock star is probably the next one to die? And I think I was number one on the list. So, and the sad part about it, I was pretty proud of that at the time. Like, yeah. Now I'm like, what an idiot. Now that I'm older and wiser, and Yeah, don't do that stuff anymore.
I know, you get too old, don't we? I know what you're saying. Like, I thought I'd never lived till I was 23, 24, and here I am still. I mean, I wasn't in a band, but I was like partying and everything. Yeah,
Oh, of course. Yeah.
totally. All right, man. So what's 2025 then hold in store for you as a band and also for your BMXing?
BMX, I start the national season in Los Angeles in like a couple weeks. Actually, that's the thing about BMX is the season ends on December 15th, and the new season starts January 1st. So there's only 2 weeks off. Not like other sports where we were at the track like a week, last weekend, going, yeah, man, the season's ending. This is the last race of the year. Yeah, good thing it's only 2 weeks long, right? But I'm already missing. Today's Friday, right? Normally I go to a local race today. Right. So as far as local races, yeah. So I'm just going to keep racing and do what I did last year and try to race the national circuit and stuff. As far as music, I think we're just waiting to see what can possibly happen with touring and what kind of shows get offered or we look into to find or whatever. We would like to do stuff, but there'll definitely be more videos. And for once, I'm kind of just sitting back for once and trying to see what happens instead of trying to play. Oh, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. Just see what happens. So I think if we can keep waiting and the right thing's going to come along, and I just don't want to do nothing stupid, really.
That's brilliant. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time. An absolute legend, mate. Do you have any final words for your fans, our viewers, and listeners?
I just appreciate it and thank you. And please check out the record. Put a lot into it, and I think it's really good. And if you take a chance to listen to it, you'll enjoy it. So appreciate that. Thank you.
What can I do you for, young man?
I'm looking for something really cool.
And you definitely want to check out the new Prophets of Addiction.